That which binds us together would be no more, and I would be loath to live in such a world, which is why I must ask you this one favor. Don't worry, it's a simple thing. Run, Cloud. Run away.
Final Fantasy VII is my favorite Final Fantasy game, so when I heard about the remake for the first time, I was apprehensive. Final Fantasy XIII was, in my opinion, horrible, way too linear, and one of the most boring games I have ever played in my life. Final Fantasy XV to me was a step in the right direction, but I didn't like characters and combat was too flashy with lack of tactical depth, at least in vanilla version that I've played. It did give us open world once more to explore and enjoy battling various creatures and special bosses. So big question was at that time, what the hell is Final Fantasy VII gonna be like, especially knowing the fact that it is gonna be episodic game. Well, Square did something special here, even if it is flawed in some ways. I'm surprised how much I could enjoy this extremely linear story-driven experience that covers Midgar Story of the original. Many might have thought that game would be too short because it is only Midgar. I had beaten the game without finishing all VR and Shinra facility missions in about 40 hours or so. So there is enough playtime definitely. Let's talk about the story and characters first. I won't spoil anything, but will mention the ending without any specifics revealed. Midgar Story has been expanded, and that is why the game is so long for only Midgar. Story brings you all the key moments from the original and adds more screen time for side characters like Wedge, Biggs and Jesse. This time we get to know them much more, and I can't commend Square enough of their portrayal and added personality layers for every character in the game. Every single character is not only exactly the same as in the original, but even better. Cloud being the most impressive to me by far, even though he might seem as the simplest character. His facial expressions, fantastic voiceover, reactions, funny comebacks at times, slight personality change as the game progresses. Just fantastic. Sephiroth, one of my favorite villains ever, is truly scary now with his unshakable confidence and mad look in his eyes with calm, fantastic voiceover.
You have to leave. You have to live.
You bastard!
Some NPCs need to be commended as well. Vagabond Johnny is one of my favorite characters in the game. What a funny dummy. Made me laugh in almost every scene that he participated in.
Tifa! I don't...
Take a deep breath.
I heard Corneo was gonna audition new girls soon.
Well, I do.
I'll come too! Hey Cloud, bro. I can call you bro, right?
Nope.
Just want to say, bro, that I'm totally relieved that you're looking out for Tifa.
Expanded storylines following side characters with new locations are all well and good, but unfortunately Square didn't do great job with the main storyline, at least when it comes to the ending. Most key story moments are here, with some being altered and some added ones like Whispers. Whispers are ghosts that are Destiny's hand, and their goal is to prevent fate being altered. Only good thing about Whispers and Destiny involvement into Final Fantasy VII story is that it leads to epic boss fight at the end of the game. Other than that, Whispers don't make much sense besides overly complicating the whole story. At least so far, but maybe their effect starts to make more sense in later parts. In the end, we also have alternative dimension, glimpse in the future, complete confusion as to what the hell just happened and why everything is different. I don't mind them redoing the story, but when you start adding stuff like alternative dimensions, time travel, destiny and other bollocks like that, it just makes story a lot worse in my opinion. Original Final Fantasy VII had same impactful story without all these unnecessary shenanigans. If we remove Whispers from the story, all the way to the very end, Final Fantasy VII Remake story is stellar, with many emotional moments and fantastic characters that you start to love more and more. Ending, however, I dislike completely. I can't even begin to fathom what kind of messy turn story will take onwards. Who knows, maybe it is gonna be awesome, but I'm skeptical. So Final Fantasy VII Remake is very linear story-driven game. It is another hallway simulator like Final Fantasy XIII, but fortunately far more enjoyable. I really do not like extremely linear RPGs, but this story is so good up until the end, with interesting locations, so I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. In my opinion, they should have added open world areas in Midgar, or make a mix between open world and linear story parts, because there is almost no freedom in the whole game, which is a shame. Couple of chapters in the whole game have a couple of side quests to do, some VR missions are available, and that is that. And after you are done with the game, hard mode unlocks, where magic points are not restored at benches, and items cannot be used, which adds new layer of difficulty against same but tougher enemies than before. Problem is that you have to go through all those slow sections again just to get to the good part. I do not like endgame, as it is either based on VR missions or replaying the whole chapters on hard. This is where open areas would do wonders, but it is what it is. Simply said, testing your party against tougher challenges comes at a price. Either you're gonna have to play whole chapters again or battle tough enemies in VR simulator, and that to me is just lazy and unimaginative. Like they didn't know what to do with some awesome enemies, so they put them in VR, completely killing any connection of theirs to the game world. One of the reasons why such an extremely linear game did not bother me this time around is the best combat system I have ever experienced in an action RPG. Every time there was a fight incoming, I was excited and could not wait to start bashing some skulls in. This new system that combines ATB with dynamic combat participation is so well done that I am still blown away. It is incredible that there is good enough depth while all this flashy stuff keeps happening. Every character has vastly different set of abilities and playstyles, and you can change between them at any given time. Exploiting enemies' weaknesses is crucial to end combat fast, and you want to end it fast because it is challenging and requires your full attention. Issuing commands to non-active characters, switching between them, repositioning, assessing the enemy are all key components of every encounter. And it never gets dull. Ever. Thankfully, AI is competent at defending, while it does not do much offensively. I welcome this approach because in almost every case AI did great job avoiding damage or at least blocking some of it. Babysitting AI is not needed at all, and you are left with the option to completely control their ATB commands cause they won't use ATB charges, thankfully, meaning screw-ups are on you. This adds tactical depth to the game, and I love the fact hands-on approach to combat is necessary. Battles can be quite challenging, so understanding what you are facing and adapting to it can lead to battles becoming easier, but still retain decent challenge. Boss battles are awesome because there are so many different mechanics for each boss fight that will keep you on your toes. Not only is it important to have good setup and know enemies' weaknesses, it is also important to position yourself to avoid nasty attacks or block unavoidable attacks. It is all very dynamic and fun. Enemy variety is also very good, but some enemies are just meh. Monster type enemies we are fighting are of small size for the most part, and now that we have adult looking characters with proper body size, they are far from interesting due to size discrepancy. Majority of enemies, however, are fun to battle against because they come in various groups with each type doing their own thing. Not only we have this fantastic new combat system, but Square decided to keep classic combat system as well, but in all honesty I didn't even touch it after experiencing the new one. Character progression is all about choosing appropriate weapon and having a good materia setup. It isn't overly complicated, but there is enough to play around with, and overall it is enjoyable without too much fuss and unnecessary complexity. It is more about assigning proper roles to each party member and building for it. I like that each weapon has its own upgrade tree with different inherent abilities that can be transferred to other weapons. Overall, I am happy with the system. Not overly complex, but not too simple as well. I am not video and audio savvy person, so I will give you my honest layman opinion about both. Visually, this game is spectacular. It is a joy to look at, even though it is largely gloomy and without colors. However, it is even more challenging to make locations interesting in that case, but they managed to do it. Midgar looks amazing, especially lower parts when those plates are looming over us. Character details are top notch, animations are fantastic, facial expressions superb. Square still has the ability to push boundaries. Music in this game is the best music I have ever heard in a video game. Nothing else needs to be added to that statement. Voices fit characters and their personalities so well. Sound effects are awesome. Overall, from visual and audio perspective, it is one of the most impressive games ever made. So many amazing things about this game, and then some that are rushed and not well thought out. However, positives in this game are so huge and stand out so much, and that overshadows almost every negative. There is one more thing to mention that I can't stand, and it is locking summons like Carbuncle, Cactuar and Chocobo Chick behind pre-order or deluxe edition bonuses. This pisses me off so much. It is such scummy practice that I wish for it to be eradicated completely. No excuse whatsoever for locking in-game stuff behind pre-orders or more expensive editions. These kind of practices get no remorse policy from me and are counted towards final score of the game. So what is the final score then? I am giving Final Fantasy VII Remake an 8 out of 10, which translates to great game. Things done right are so damn good that even extreme linearity, bad ending, locked summons and weak endgame are not enough to get scored down more than that. Could have been one of the greatest games ever, but it is what it is. Still very enjoyable remake with second to none production quality.